What's going on, y'all? I got a real good guest today for y'all to come on here and try to work y'all through some of y'all mental issues and try to help us figure out what we need to do to help ourselves and help the women in our lives. So vice versa, either way. Today I want to introduce y'all to Coach Faith B, a mental health professionalist out of Indiana. And I met her a few months back and she knows her stuff, y'all. So get ready to welcome Coach Faith B to the stage. How you doing, Faith?
I am doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you actually came on the show so we can chop it up a little bit. Let's figure out how we can help the people some on the Raw Report. Give them some things that they can get resilient against the world about. So I think my first question to you would be, what inspired you to specialize in working with women in mental health?
Well, so I basically, my first job in the mental health field was with all men in the group. And what I learned from listening to the men was that they had a hard time breaking the barriers of the women who struggle with mental health. So a lot of what they verbalized and what they said made me know as a mental health professional that I want to work with my women so that they can understand that a lot of men do not process the same as us. And so that was one area because, like I said, my first job as a therapist or a counselor was with all men. Also, just my experience when you say why I want to work with women is because I'm a woman who knows what it's like to go through different experiences, emotions, understanding that a lot of women, especially of color, do not seek help or seek mental health support. It's stigmatized in our community, and so that talking with a lot of women and helping them understand that it's okay to address your mental health. So that is why I'm geared and passionate about helping my women, especially those who had a voice and now they're silenced. So I want to help them speak, let their voice be heard and what they experience. So that is why I'm geared towards helping my women.
I like that a lot, actually. So I guess what I wanted to ask you, what did you learn from how men process it differently than women? What did you learn that makes the process different?
So what's ironic is the first experience that I learned is that men would ask a lot of questions about women related to not just the relationships they were in, but also their mom, if they were raised in a household and it was just them and mom. And so they would have so many questions that as a new therapist put me in a place where, okay, I got to do some education because they asking a whole lot of questions.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know. That didn't happen, in the household I was raised in. But the men are very, what I've learned from those groups and those individual men, that they are very straight to the point, and they, a lot of times they communicate, they give you what they mean real quick and that's it. And then women, we're very descriptive and talkative and dissecting everything. And men are just like, just say it. And so I learned that the communication styles are so different. and that was a big barrier, just how they communicate. That's how women and men communicate, and the men just don't realize you just having a moment tomorrow. It's different.
Have you figured out a way to bridge that gap between men and women so far in your career?
So one thing I would say is that I do believe that working with men and women, maybe if it's a family therapy, I would rather do co-parenting than actually do relationship. Because you asked, have I figured out a way to bridge that gap?
Right.
And so I think it's easier, and this is just an opinion. There's nothing written in stone that I've studied. Well, there is one study that I do know that when people get to relationship counseling, sometimes it's too late. However, if an individual, meaning an individual man is doing therapy and a woman is doing therapy individually, but they're working on relationship, how they communicate and whatever it helps better. That means they get their own individual over there, they get their own, and then when they come together, it's easier. So bridging the gap, most of my experience is individual with both. So actually bringing them together has been just co-parenting. So I do think that I can help with the bridging the gap with co-parenting. I do very well with teaching two people how to co-parent, but I don't prefer to do relationship counseling at all.
I don't blame you on that one. I don't deal with the relationships myself.
Yeah,
So can you share a pivotal moment in your career where you felt deeply committed to your mission or connected?
So as a service provider, and what that means is you become a provider. You can be a provider for the state or for agency. And what that means is you work with a lot of community-based agencies or clients or people in the community. And I felt, I remember working with reunifying families, okay? And so that means a lot of children end up in a system, or moms or dads losing their children to the system. And so a lot of beginning therapists start off doing that. And my pivotal moment is when I saw, because a lot of people don't have, those people are court ordered for services. They don't volunteer to do that.
Right.
So a pivotal moment for me is when I saw that, hey, if they do if somebody that's really willing to work and service them, they reunite with their family and it works well. And so I began to see me work with some women that were like so lost. And I'm not downing them, but they were so far apart from their kids returning home. And I began to see the change. And I said, well, man, it's very rewarding when you see, okay, this has been a long time and now it's moving forward. So in that moment, the heart to serve became another level for me, because I saw that what happens when families break up, but you can restore families and help families come back together. And so that was a pivotal moment for me as far as the mental health sector. Mm-hmm. Seeing the women come out of the pit and renew and restore their life with their family. So that to me is the big moment, helping women do that.
Okay, so with mental health being like a deeply personal issue, you'd agree, right? Mm-hmm. How do you balance professional empathy and self-care?
That's the big one. That's the big one. So I was just talking on another interview about that, and that is related to a new niche. Okay, so when I first started, um, my 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 desire was to help women struggling with mood disruption due to trauma, loss, or grief.
Right.
Which homegirl will work with you on that.
Right.
However, this week has really been transformative in the idea of that sometimes when you have those experiences, that pain can come out at any point. And so if you don't manage self deposits, self preservation, and self investment, then you begin to lack the self care that you need.
Wow.
You're pouring and you're pouring and you're pouring, and then all of a sudden you're empty.
Wow. And you don't have nothing to fill that emptiness back up.
Yeah. And so when you said that, that's important because in order to coach, see, therapy and coaching is two different things. So in order to coach in a way that is transformative, you have to make sure you balance that self-care. And so management takes when you detaching, decompression, coming home from serving others, and then you have your household. You may be serving your household. So you have to have a plan to manage your own self deposits.
Definitely have to have a plan. You have to have a plan with anything. So my next question would be, what are some key mental health challenges women face that men might not fully understand?
That list can go on, but I would just say,
give me some. Just give us some help. Help us, men. Help the women.
I mean, first of all, and I'm not gonna. Women are naturally emotional creatures,
right?
Number one, but number two, you have to look at women go through so many hormonal changes. Okay, they go through hormonal changes with age and just through every month. So they go through hormonal changes, they go through body changes when they have kids, they go through postpartum, they have to be mothers, they have to be sisters, daughters, wives, work 9 to 5. I mean, and women right now are just statistical. They are the most educated people on the earth right now. So more women are getting degrees, and they are kind of dominating the workplace.
They doing it. They doing that.
So, but they still are required to be mothers, wives, cooks,
all the
things. they have to do it. Exactly.
All the work.
So a lot of times, the men, they work hard too, and they do their thing, but sometimes they don't want you in front. They don't understand that they might be just want to eat their plate and watch the football game, but that young lady might just come home and just seem as if she acting a little off, but she has not learned how to take off one hat and put on.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, we could, as men, we need to show our ladies a little more empathy.
You asking the question better.
No, listen. I'm just going off what you said. I heard you. I ain't asking. I heard you. We need to show our ladies a little more empathy because they're dealing with, in today's world, a lot more than what they used to deal with because of they have the degrees, the education, and along with still having to take care of home.
That's true.
It's adding extra burden on their shoulders, and because they're emotional creatures, they don't necessarily know how to express that. They just take it on.
Definitely, I do. I hear that. That is what I'm saying. The empathy level is sometimes like, sometimes you gotta understand the language to use instead of saying, "Hey, You act a little crazy. You can say,
they ain't trying to hear that right there.
you can say, hey, is everything okay? How was your
Can I help
day?
you? Right.
No, it's usually in the language because, and same for the ladies, they can learn how to actually just say what it is. You know, hey, I had a long day. I've done this, I've done that, and I still have to make sure that everything is okay. And so I do think empathy on both parts is important. So, yeah.
Communication, basically, at the end of the day. We need to learn how to communicate well with our women.
Communication is so.
That's with everything, though. That's with everything. But I was sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, oh, wow. When you just said that, to me, from a man's point of view, when you said the degrees, the work, and taking care of home, this and that, you added like 4 or 5 things that I know is there, but I didn't give it no credit. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
when they, like you said, when we like, you going crazy. I mean, technically, y'all got a reason to be going crazy, but I'm gonna stay off of that one. But
you know that once somebody once said to me, and this was a while ago, it stuck with me because I'm like, really? So a man made a comment. He said that when women go to school and they work and they have kids, they forget that they got a husband. They forgot that they committed to a husband. And I was just like, so, you know, I didn't say it, but what I wanted to say was, well, are you saying that they can't get their education and they can't go to school and they can't go to work? But I'm able, because I do mental health, I'm able to step out of my shoes and see where he was coming from. But the way he said it was like,
I'm going to tell you what he was actually trying to say. What's funny, he said that, but what he was trying to say is he don't like the fact that he became last on the back burner. School and the kids came first, and all of a sudden he went from husband, man, being number 1 to being number 4. That hit different. It hit different. It feel different because kids got to come first. You in school, you paid this money, you got to get that school, and then it's time for husband. You looking like I said, it goes back to communication, but that's a whole other subject. We're going to talk.
It is, but I was able to step out of my shoes and understand where he was coming from. But the only thing that made a difference is how he said it.
Wow.
So how he said it. It's not that what he said was
incorrect.
Anything was wrong with it. It's how he said it.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And I hope y'all out here getting this, because that's deep right there. We got to learn how to talk to our ladies.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on your experience, are there any universal mental health principles that apply across both male and female genders?
Well, so to be honest, they both experience, and this probably is in any book, they both experience the same type, most of the same type of mental health concerns, stressors. However, how it affects each one is different.
Okay.
So, well, I'm gonna say this: when it comes to trauma, that's something I'm big on with trauma. It affects women different than men.
Sure.
However, most of mental health stressors, topics, most men and women experience it the same at the same rate as far, except for like suicide. You have to look at if you're looking at the statistics of what happens and how they respond is different.
Right.
So it's not that they don't both experience the same. They both experience the same type of issues: health, depression, anxiety, abuse. These days, women abusing men. It's
That's
just
true though. That's true.
that's
You see it
real.
all
It's
the
just
time. It's actually probably more prevalent than the men
it's,
abusing the women.
yeah, it's both. It's just how they respond to it is what's different. But
Okay.
I honestly believe that now if we go into stats,
Statistics. Okay.
you can go a little deeper into what the difference is how they respond and who's quiet and who's not, who's in treatment longer, who's willing to go to treatment. That's a whole nother
Oh
level.
no, that's yeah. We ain't going there today. We just wanted to touch those. But okay, so look, okay, how do society's expectations of the stereotypes of mental health? How is it different between the way men and women approach it?
I do believe women are going to be more willing. They are more willing to go to or talk about their mental health because they're more descriptive, and it's easier for most women to be more vulnerable than men.
Mm-hmm.
But the stigma, when you're talking about the stigma of mental health, I just believe our people, and I serve all people. I believe all people, but our people in the Black community are the hardest people to get to address their mental health. Like and what I mean by that is old school.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really do mental health. They didn't see therapists. They didn't
Believe
see.
me, I know that wasn't even a discussion.
Yeah, no, ain't no ADHD. Just sit down and
Shut up.
yeah, be quiet. It's hard for us as in our community to accept that I need some help.
Why don't we ask for help? Especially like what you just said, women will at least more willing to ask for help. How do a man in mental health? How do we begin to ask for help? Like, what do you suggest?
I suggest that if you're not comfortable as a man to seek mental health professional, or there's a lot of online therapists that you can talk to and nobody has to know, but there are a lot of anonymous groups, and so they have all kind of anonymous groups. Okay, like it's not just AA and NA every day. It's all kind of anonymous groups. So whether it's gambling, whether it's emotional abuse, whether it's a lot of anonymous groups. If you go online right now and type, you can find an anonymous group. And I'm only saying that because it's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah, it's a start. You can, any type of, instead of just Alcohol Anonymous, they have Heroin Anonymous, they have Gambling Anonymous, they have groups for, whatever it is. It could be pornography, it could be Sex Anonymous. They have all type of groups that you can just Google and find a group.
I'm actually glad you just said that, because I would have never thought that I could find help for something that's not just AA or something like that. So that's actually some great advice.
And I think that once a man that's uncomfortable with, hey, there are men groups. What's crazy is there are men groups that I didn't know about until I worked with the man and they told me, oh, I'm in this group. And they gave me, I said, man, you need to share that.
Right.
You need to share that because I know a guy told me he experienced a retreat and he would drive just an hour away it was a men's group and you had to sign up for the membership, and I thought it was awesome because he shared that with me and he said that was his only support. But if you go online right now, I think that's a start to go into an anonymous group, and once you build up that strength and you want to talk to an individual therapist, then do it. There are crisis hotlines.
Mm-hmm.
You call the crisis hotline. Now you do have to be careful what you say.
Because they're coming to get you.
If you say something, well, we think you gonna harm us. They
You
come
end up in that 72-hour hole. Be in the hospital
Yes.
and get up out of there.
I'm just being honest. Don't say, hey, but if you are there, you want to get the help. You want to call 988 or you want to call an emergency hotline. But there are people that are trained just to sit on the phone and talk to you. Like they're trained to sit on the phone and talk with you until you can get out of that state where you can, okay, I'm gonna call, a family member, I'm gonna call someone that'll listen to me, or maybe my friend will come sit with me. But there are crisis hotlines and people don't use them.
That's actually some great advice. It's honestly, you say we don't use them. I would almost beg to say we don't know about them. Like when you just said something as simple as Googling them, I was like, you know what I mean? Because I just never thought of that. Because normally you got to go to a doctor's office or somewhere to give you these pamphlets, and then, like you said, our community, one of our first things we thinking is, how much is it gonna cost? I already ain't got no money. But
so
that probably be a little cheaper, or probably not even costing at all.
It would be, if most anonymous groups though are support led. So that means a peer who has recovered is usually leading the group. But what's beneficial to those is they usually have support resources, so they can refer you like, hey, I know a good therapist that you would like. Because what I've learned too is some people in the mental health field, that means these are clinicians or these are case managers or whoever, they have therapists too, and they don't want people to know who they're seeing.
Oh.
And so there are people that give you a referral, like, hey, this person is all the way out there and don't nobody know them, and you can see that person and you won't really have to have it. Because this is what I've seen in our community. They like, well, where they working? Who know them? Like, listen.
Right.
Get the help.
Exactly.
but those anonymous groups help you because they give you, they don't just give you peer support. They have resources for you to find, appropriate therapists and appropriate for you, personalized your needs. Every therapist cannot help every person. So.
And even like you just said, even if they only give you the strength to be able to call a friend or a family member to be able to speak up so you can get some help. So that's good in itself.
That's true.
What tools and practices do you recommend that clients start using out the gate before going there that they can build some emotional resilience?
So I'm big on, I always say radical acceptance, but radical acceptance is, it comes from mindfulness. Okay, so mindfulness,
that's a good one.
Is mindfulness is real good because it helps you feel what you're feeling in the moment without being judgmental of what you're feeling or your thoughts.
Okay.
And it keeps you focused on the moment and not yesterday, not tomorrow, not the next hour. You should be present in the moment. So I think that I prefer mindfulness over so many interventions because it's just a way to stay in the moment. Meditation, a lot of people, you tell them how to breathe and they make such a big deal, but meditation, however you learn how to meditate, focusing on your breath, it helps with grounding, it helps with sleep, it helps with self-regulation. Okay, so that means it helps you learn how to self-regulate, and when your emotions are very intense, when you want to go from verbalizing everything that you feel versus I'm gonna write this down. So I would say mindfulness, any mindfulness technique or grounding technique is the first thing I would recommend. But there's other. I'm big on CBT.
What is CBT?
So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It is for people who are struggling with their thoughts. Okay, and so it doesn't necessarily. It can be any unhealthy thinking. That can be some people that are having thoughts of harm to themselves, or they think horrible about themselves, or they ruminate a lot. Anxious thoughts, whatever the thoughts is, it really is geared towards helping you have healthy thoughts. And one of the reasons why a lot of therapists use CBT is because if you are experiencing any type of depression, anxiety, mood disruption, if you have a diagnosis of ADHD or mood disorder, whatever, your thoughts become distorted. And so and anybody can have a distorted thought, okay? You can be angry and then what you're thinking is just not healthy. So what you use is cognitive behavioral therapy. And one resource for that anybody can do, because what I like about CBT is if you ever been in, if you know anybody, or if you have ever used that as a modality, you can actually go and type in brief CBT manual online, Google, and pull up a free long self help CBT guide.
What did you call it? Brief CBT?
Yeah, it's called the Brief CBT Manual.
The Brief CBT Manual, y'all. So y'all know to check in. It's the Brief CBT Manual. You can go online and Google it. And you can get yourself some self-help to at least get the ball started.
Yes, and so it's a long curriculum, but you can print it off if you want, or you can download it to your computer. And whenever it teaches problem solving, it teaches imagery, it teaches relaxation techniques, progressive muscle relaxation, thought records, behavior activation. Those are a whole lot of just modalities that are used.
Oh no, that was good. That was real good, because I had never heard of them. So I'm glad you came on to give us those.
Yeah. Pull it up, do it yourself.
Say it again.
I said they can pull it up and learn it.
That's what I'm saying. Right. And that's a great start, because now that should give them some strength enough to, like I said, reach out and get some real help.
Mm-hmm.
If there was any common myths that you being a mental health professional that you would like to debunk, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know you got a couple of them that you like, because you hear a lot of stuff and you like, that's just wrong.
So a myth about mental health.
Take your time, because I know you got some. You hear
that's a on the spot question. Like, basically, are you saying what is a myth about mental health? What? Stigma, diagnosis? I
know. Just stuff that people be out here just lying. There's mental health. You know that. You be like, cut it out. Cut it out. You know that ain't no mental health.
That's a real problem. It really makes you think.
That girl just left you and you acting real strange for no reason. That man left. It's the raw report. We got to give it to him raw.
There are personality.
Okay.
There are personality disorders versus mental health, and some people, some people will use mental health as a crutch when it's a personality.
Wow, that's good. That's really good.
And so that I think a lot of people. I think people that are probably living with somebody who has been diagnosed one thing I will say about that question is just be and I have to learn this from experience, personally with family and people that I'm close to, is that just because a person has a mental health diagnosis doesn't mean that they don't know right and wrong from their behavior. So it's not an excuse for you as a person to take wrongful treatment, disrespect, any type of behavior that is draining you. Even though that person has a mental health diagnosis, it's still their responsibility to take care of that. That means they have to manage that mental health, and if they choose not to, then
yeah, you're right. You're right. It ain't on you at that point.
Yeah, and I think that I'm not gonna say women. That would be an opinion, but I'm gonna say a lot of people, a lot of individuals get caught up in that, and they have to learn that behavior is totally different from your mental health diagnosis.
Okay, so I was before we did this interview, I was reading through your intake form, and I was like, I gotta ask what this means, because it sounds really good. I just want you to explain it. What does it mean to radically accept?
What is radical acceptance?
Yeah, because you said when we as individuals radically accept where we are, we can begin our next. What does it mean to radically accept? Explain that, please.
Oh, that's so powerful. Listen.
I know it is. When I read it, I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta get her to tell me what this is."
So I'm so passionate. I'm gonna listen. First of all, radical acceptance is a term that most therapists use as an intervention when they're working with people who are doing mindfulness. However, my meaning, not just my meaning, but what it actually, if you define the word radical, and I say it like that because when I'm in groups, I'm like, radical, guys, what is radical? And they say, this is over the top. Young people say, this is extraordinary, this is unfamiliar. So this is a radical change. This isn't just, I accept, this is radical, right?
Right.
So I gave an example earlier, and I'ma use this example. This is a different one, and this is the one I use in group all the time. So, say for instance, a person is like, "Hey, I like her, right? She's cool,
right?"
And their heart is like, "Oh, my heart is like, oh, I like her." But my stomach is like, "Ooh, I feel a little wheezy. My stomach hurt. I don't know. That ain't, that's not."
Right.
I might throw up. I don't know what's going on. And then my mind is like, no, that's not gonna work. That's
right.
So what that means is,
that's 3 different feelings in one.
My heart is saying one thing, right?
My stomach saying one, and my mind is saying something totally different.
So those 3 are not in agreement
at all.
Right?
Yes.
At all. However, you meet somebody else and like, oh, she's amazing. She's wonderful. I feel good. I'm calm. I'm eating my chicken wings and my pizza in front of her. I'm acting a fool. I'm laughing.
Right.
So my body is cool.
Right.
And my heart is saying, I think I'm gonna have to keep in touch, right?
Right.
So what that means is the mind, the heart, and the body is in one accord. They all 3 have a line. Right. And that means you have radically accept that my decision to keep in touch with this person is cool, right?
Good, right.
So that's an example. So when you radically accept where you are, that means your mind, your body, and your heart has made a decision that, okay, I know where I'm at and I know exactly what I need to do.
Wow. Okay.
And because I've accepted where I'm at, I'm able to make the decision to work towards my next.
Right. I like that.
And so that's what I mean about radical acceptance. And when I use that, it's because a lot of people stay stuck because they don't accept where they are at. And I'm not just speaking to women, men, and myself.
No.
Because I know what it's like to just not accept where I'm at. And
Speaking to me too. Like, that's why I wanted to know radically explain it. We don't got no reason not to understand what radically accept. So if somebody ever hit you with you need to radically accept your movements, y'all know what y'all need to be doing. Go through the framework that Coach Faith just gave us.
Yes.
Radical acceptance for 2025. Yeah. Let's move in that.
Yeah.
So what role does spirituality play in your work?
So, and that is, okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. Everything I do is centered around faith. Even when I'm, working, so people may not know me as faith centered, but most people do. But before I would go into helping anybody, I would pray and make sure that it goes the way it should be. But what my coaching that I'm going into and that I'm it required surrenderance, because I saw a lot of moves that I made totally off faith, and I know that faith has helped me serve people in a way that just a way that it was meant to be. And so I use the FAITH acronym, and that's something that I came up with that requires faith.
Just tell us and then don't say nothing. Give it down what it is.
The acronym is FAITH, acceptance, intentionality, trust, and healing.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And
I think that's some type of framework you working on with that. Workbook or something.
That framework is something that I have learned, even in the switch into the niche, that you can use that framework in any area of your life. If you remain faithful, accepting,
acceptance,
intentionality,
trust,
and healing.
Ooh, that's good.
That framework will keep in your spiritual life, in your mental health life, in your emotional life, in the area of intelligence,
relationships, everything,
and financial. So that when God gave me that framework, I'm like, ooh, that's every area.
And it's your name. I'm just saying. So that's the book. That's everything. It should be coming. I'm just saying. I mean, don't listen to me. I'm just saying.
No, but I didn't. My name, people, if your name Faith, everybody got something to say about your name, and don't get it twisted. I claim that name. I wasn't always like that.
Right.
But when God begins to God will put you in a place to accept where you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Once you accept that, you just accept it. And so
I would tell you to keep riding with that, because you got a nice acronym. You should build everything off of that. I'm gonna give you one more hard question, then I'm gonna get you with some rapid fire questions.
Okay, hard.
I ain't gonna say it's hard, but can you share a practice or philosophy that has brought significant peace and clarity to your clients that you can help us with my audience figure out, that can help them with find some peace in their life? And I would say it's that FAITH acronym, but I'm just saying. That's small questions.
I mean, I do think that, I kind of said it, because I just think that learning to accept and understand that every season, and this is what I say when I'm able to have a word to speak to others. In every season, you're going to have to radically accept something. Okay?
Yes.
It's not just for today, but once you get here, then you're going to move here, and you're gonna have to radically accept, hey, this is my season, and now in order for me to move into my next, I'm gonna have to radically accept this. And so don't be afraid to step into your new when it's time. Like right now, honestly, if people really knew what I'm experiencing, they will be surprised that I'm speaking this way. But just know that your season of transition, which feels, I told my supervisor this one day, I feel like I'm always in transition, but you always gonna have to accept something in transitioning into your next. Okay, and so that was a hard question for me because I feel like I'm always in transition, but you're always gonna have to radically accept where you are to move into your next. And
I like that.
Yeah,
that's actually something good for you guys. She summed it all up. Whatever you're doing, radically accept it. If you don't radically accept it, move on. Go find something else that you can radically accept. That's like the cheat code to the test. If you can't radically accept it, don't do it.
That's true. If it ain't aligned,
it ain't it. I like that.
Please know that if it ain't aligned,
if it ain't aligned, it's not it. All right, so I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions. That means I need you to spit off some answers, but don't try to sit there and try to delegate on it, but just think on it.
Some assets.
Yes, let's move it. All right. What is the best piece of advice you ever received?
Oh, the best advice I've ever received. You're right. That's something that you be thinking about, because I got a lot of advice in my life. I would say, so I don't know. You know how some people get a lot of content, but what helped me? I know how I am. Somebody, and I'm just gonna say this helped me. God made you unique, okay? And so I can be stubborn.
Okay.
And I've gotten a lot of advice, so I can't really say this was the only advice that helped me. But I got a content, some email, and the person said, "Use your stubbornness the way God wants you to use it."
Ooh, that's good.
So God may have showed you and had a conversation with you about your calling, no matter where you've been, what you've done, and who you were, but who you are now is who God has called you to be. So don't let anybody talk you out of your stubbornness when it comes to your calling.
Right. That's good.
So
I like that, because for me, like you said, it's not necessarily stubbornness. It was just me being in my own way. So I like what you said.
But you use that stubbornness
to push through. You got me sitting here doing this interview. Right. Exactly. So one book or resource that's been transformative for your perspective that you think my readers should read that can transform their perspectives.
Y'all gotta read. I look. You know, you can't ask me because I'm a reader.
Yeah. Well, give them a few then. Give them a few.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say Dr. Darius Relational Intelligence.
For sure. That's a good one.
I'm gonna tell you, I've read a lot of books, so I can give gems on so many books. But what helped me with this book, and I said this in one of my lives, my kids always be like, that person is a pick me. We didn't use that words. Well, I wasn't a pick me, but I had a lot when growing up.
Hold the book up a little bit, Pi, so they can see it. There you go.
This is Relational Intelligence by Dr. Darius.
Finish your statement, what you were saying, but I just want you, because you was holding up just the name.
Okay. Y'all can see it, but I had a lot of friends, and growing up, I felt very, I guess popular in high school and all that. Mm-hmm. But when I got to a point of stepping into myself, my relationships was like, I feel like I'm doing for them, or I'm codependent, or something ain't right.
Right. You was off kilter. You wasn't.
Yeah. And so when you step into this book right here teach you where to put people, where they need to be, know who is your friend, know who is your associate, know who is your professional people that you need. It teaches you,
or your mentees.
There you go. Who you mentoring and who mentoring you. And that it really did, like the time that I read this book was so timely. And so I can, like I said, I can speak on a lot of books. I read a lot of books, but that one, it changed the way I saw a lot of things, and it helped me grow in a time that I needed to grow. And so now I'm able to be me.
All right, so can I get a self-care ritual that you swear by?
Listen,
that's just good stuff. Like, you weren't expecting these.
Yeah, because I told you, I just had a conversation about how we really need to do better. But I'm gonna say this, y'all. This year, I think taking at least an hour a day to yourself and just do nothing but something for you and rewarding yourself. But what I can tell you is this year, if you're a giver like me, that means you probably spent a lot of your money and time on other people. But this year I would say maybe $12,000 or $15,000 into myself on self-development. And I don't know where that money came from. But
God made a way.
So I'm gonna tell you, for self-care, it's not just about self-development, but make sure if you willing to put all that money in your kiddos, because we go hard for our kids, and you willing to give your last for others. Don't you ever in your life not put it to yourself. So an hour or 30 minutes just to yourself to think, breathe. Okay, I would say reward yourself once a week. I have in the past been a spa day person, but I'm on that budget. But don't you ever not put nothing into yourself. If you spending all the money buying all the stuff for everybody else, make sure you self-deposit and self-preserve.
I love the way you just framed that. Don't you never not do nothing for yourself. Don't you never not do nothing for yourself. Y'all ain't get nothing else from this.
And I didn't use correct English on purpose.
This is the wrong report. Don't come on here trying to give us all prim and proper. We don't want that.
Yeah, don't you never not do nothing.
Yeah, that hit different. It says exactly what it says. Don't you never not spend time on yourself. So, getting close to wrapping up, but got a couple. So what I want to ask you is, if a listener that's going to be listening at this, they're struggling with their mental health, what's the first step they should take today? You already gave it to us earlier, but I'm just going to ask you again so you can just repeat it.
Number one, if they should seek somebody to talk to, whether it's a friend, a family member, if they have a spiritual relationship, I would lean into faith and ask God to give you who you should call or what you should do. But if you need any help, call the crisis hotline. And I'm not even talking about suicide line. I'm talking about, hey, my anxiety is at a level that I really need some help with. Use the resources that you can for yourself, but seek help. Okay? Go online, psychologytoday.com. And if you don't have insurance, there are professionals on there that give services for a lower amount. Psychologytoday.com. I would say use the crisis hotline, and I would say use those anonymous tip lines. But don't sit in it. You have to talk to somebody. If you don't feel like, and you need to talk to someone who is listening to you. If you don't feel like they're listening, go to the next person. But don't isolate. I would would recommend not to isolate. Use the 1-800 lines, use the crisis hotline, and use Psychology Today. You can get on there right now, psychologytoday.com, and you can seek professional help.
And like she said, do not isolate it. Talk to somebody. Get on there and get some help. What would be what if it's not for them? What if it's for a loved one that's dealing with mental health challenges? How would you advise someone to help their family member that's dealing with mental health? Because it's hard to tell them to just like me to Google and be like, look at this. How would you?
Well, I did, and I dropped some. Depending on how old they are, there are in the library they have free senior guides that you can go on seniorguide.com if they're 55 and older. If you have an older loved one or just a family member in your household, I suggest printing resources and say, hey, this is because printing the resources offline and giving it to them and say, hey, these are some free resources that can help you if you need that. Because my suggestion is not trying to deliver a prescription, but with empathy, giving them something in their hand that they can read, even if it's printing the CBT manual. Hey, this is helpful. They also have at the bottom of this manual a hotline and a lot of resources you can click on and you can go get help. Because sometimes family members or close loved ones, they don't respond well to just saying, hey, you can go on Psychology Today and get a therapist. So I would try and even if you send them an email with a link, hey, I was looking at this and I thought it might be helpful to you. You should read it. And then, or you can say, hey, read it and let me know what you think about it.
So tell us again, what's the name of the thing online? The brief what?
The Brief CBT Manual.
Brief CBT Manual. Okay.
Now, when you pull it up, it's going to be more than one version. It's going to be a military version. It's going to be...
Yeah, but it's good. That's good that they at least know which way to go. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you and your time for coming on today and giving these jewels to us.
I'm so happy.
It's good. And I'm gonna have you back on, so believe that. If you don't mind, I'm definitely gonna get you back on here because we go break down some of these mental health barriers and we're gonna let these people become resilient against the world, which is what the Raw Report is. So how can my listeners stay in contact with you? Give them your IG, give them your website. Come on, give us something.
So
give it to us.
Something happened. There was an error on my website that I figured out 2 days ago when I went to. However, I am on IG Faith Counseling 10. I have a Facebook page, but my She Ready LLC Faith Moves. It's called Faith Moves She Ready LLC. It's a new page. So, but you can find me on there, and if you DM me, I will send you a link to my website. It was an error. I had to revamp it. And I'm not sure but you know what? I ain't gonna let that stop me.
No, you should.
So it's being revamped again after I'm not the techiest person.
Is it the same URL?
It was Faith Moves at SheReady.com, but when you click on it now, it's not coming up. Like it was an error, so I don't know what that happened in the last literally 2 days after I really worked hard on trying. So
right now, you want us to reach out to you on Facebook.
Faith Counseling 10 on IG is the best.
The number or TEN?
Yeah, Faith Counseling 10 at gmail.com. And my page on She Ready, Faith Moves She Ready is a brand new page. So if you go on there, I would love to see you there. But Faith Counseling 10 has been around for a long time. So I direct people there right now until the website is revamped. But my email, if you want to email me for a private resource. What that means is I will send you some resources. You can email me at faithmovessheready@gmail.com. So
And this is just one question I want to get before we get out of here. How soon can we, before we can expect the book? Face Move, She Ready. I know that book coming.
you say it again, expect a book.
Your book. How long before we can expect your book? Because I
So
know it's coming.
so you mean me writing the book? Look at you.
I
So
mean,
I
I
am
said what I said.
so I am writing a book, but that's not going to be the title. I do
No,
have a
no, no, no,
title.
no. I know that. I was just saying that, but I'm saying when the book coming because you giving out too many jewels to not to be having
Yeah,
the book coming.
that is to be continued, Coach
Yeah.
Wiggins.
All right, I get you back on here. I will get
I
you
am
back
a
on here.
write. I write. I do enjoy writing, and there will be a book soon, and I hope to be able to let Coach Wiggins know about that.
All right, y'all. So to the next time, y'all already know my saying: stay real, stay raw, stay grounded in your faith, and walk boldly in your purpose. To the next time, I'm out.